Hey everybody, have you considered starting a podcast? We here at Screwball highly recommend Podbean for getting your podcast out to a larger audience. Podbean has given us the ability to easily bring you Screwball each and every week on all of your favorite podcast services. Use the link podbean.com/screwball to sign up and save up to 35% annually. You can also use the link podbean.com/pro/screwball to sign up for a business subscription. Happy podcasting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host, Mike Lepre, here with my co-host, Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This is episode 67 of Screwball, and this week we're going to bring a topic that we had previously mentioned last week as a news segment, which is regarding the All Star game upcoming in, a few weeks now. It's fastly approaching. As far as the news goes, we got some cool stats and actually some cool news segments, I think this week, as opposed to some of the slower news weeks we usually have. But as we usually do, as we've been doing in the last few weeks, let's jump right into the topic at hand, which, Frank brought up to me as our topic, and it was, is the All-Star Game voting broken? And like I usually kind of want to do, since Frank introduced the topic, I'll let him kind of lead the conversation. But yeah, so that's something to consider that I think a lot of people have kind of thought about, and, within their voting, knowing that the system is kind of effed up. Like, a lot of the players don't even get chosen by the fans, probably for good reason. But if you look at the current standings of who's being voted into the All-Star game right now, there's definitely some question marks there. So I'll let Frank kind of lead off because he brings the topic, so I'll let him kind of lead the conversation here.
Yeah, obviously the All-Star voting is a really cool thing to do. And we see in all sports there's an issue with it. And that's just because it comes down to the fans voting. And you can vote 5 times a day, which, if you do it every day for the 2 months that it's out or so, you're voting crazy. But, is the All-Star voting broken? I think it is. And I think every year there's pieces to the puzzle. You can see it. And this year you can see Yasmani Grandal is second in catching. He has some home runs and RBIs, and some of his analytical stats are all right. Still, he's batting 150. He's the second lowest average in all baseball, qualified average. Third is Martin Maldonado, who doesn't have the analytical stats. He's third in catching voting. And then you have guys like, Sanchez, who's been playing better. And there's other catchers too. Mike Zunino having a pretty good year. There's a lot of catchers, and they're not even, in the race. There's other positions like this too, like in the National League. I believe Adam Frazier having a great year. Brian Reynolds having a great year. They're not even in discussion.
Yep.
Mike Trout's leading the vote for the AL. Yeah, it's Mike Trout, but he hasn't played in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably not going to play the All-Star game.
Exactly.
So why is he leading the voting? So yeah, it is, the fans should have a say in it, but, I think we're missing the real all-stars of the season. So I think they should really do something where maybe the fans vote at the end for a couple players, like they always do. They have like the one guy. Maybe they should do it with a couple players. Or maybe they should do something where the fans vote on, who's, they'll vote popularity, straight up.
Yeah.
And if you win, you get bonuses. Maybe they're in your MLB bonuses. It gives you a bonus. Not the team, the MLB will give you a bonus. That would be, that'd be good for them. Or, the players and the coaches and GMs and writers and stuff like that, they vote for the players. Here's your 25-man roster, 26-man roster. Now you get to vote who you want starting out of this roster.
I think that's a good compromise.
And then the fans can still vote for a couple players at the end. Like up here's you got to pick 2 of the last 5 guys. You got to vote for these guys. 2 highest vote getters get on the team. This way the All-Stars get on. Yeah, okay, do we want to see Trout in the All-Star game? Of course.
Yeah, sure.
And does he deserve it? Sure, but he hasn't played that much. We need to get the guys who played good, especially because it's always every year there's a couple guys who don't get to go there much.
That's true.
Mark Markakis got once in his career. We're talking Matt Olson's not even top 3 in first baseman.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He's really he's third in the MVP voting. And that's only because Ohtani is pitching. Because offensively they have almost the same stats.
Yep.
He's just actually Olson's had a higher average, I believe more RBIs, less home runs. So if it wasn't for Ohtani pitching, Olson's second in the MVP race. And he's not even in the All-Star rate, top 3 in first baseman.
Yeah.
When I seen it, at least. Now it could be changed, but when I seen it, I believe it was this morning.
No,
that's where the stats were at.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He's not top 3.
Yeah, so in the nationally, Trey Turner, shortstop. He's not in the top 3.
Don't make any sense.
And not for nothing, but LeMahieu was third, I believe, in the second baseman. He's doing okay, but there's some other second basemen too that could be maybe pushing him for third. So it's, and I love LeMahieu, so I want to see him there. But I don't want All-Star games to be stolen from people, especially guys who aren't perennial All-Stars every single year. We're gonna play 15 years and make 14 All-Star games. If that was the case, we'd be all voting for Pujols right now.
Yeah.
We want to see the real guys, get there. We want to see Adam Frazier get his All-Star game in. Maybe Brian Reynolds. A team like the Pirates who have a couple players that are, playing pretty good. Get them a little love, their fan base. And not just that, all of a sudden, oh man, they got an All-Star. Maybe a team goes trades for him. Helps the whole franchise. You got to give these guys their chances. And we do that with the pitching, which is crazy. Pitchers get voted by the players and the coaches and the GMs and stuff like that. So I don't know why don't we get to vote for pitchers?
Right. Yeah, I never understood that either.
I think they should change something just to get these guys there. Obviously, I don't want to take the fan side out of it, but we got to make sure the players who deserve it the most get there.
I agree.
And then we go from there. But I don't want, and I keep saying it, but I don't want the Adam Fraziers and the Brian Reynolds and Trey Turner. I mean, he's more of an all-star guy, but these guys who aren't perennial all-stars to miss their chance because we wanted to vote in.
Oh, I'm looking at someone right here.
Francisco Lindor or something.
Gavin Lux is in top 3.
He was sent into the minors and hurt, I believe, at one point. What's he batting, 254?
So, real quick, just to throw that in there. Gavin Lux is 3rd in the voting. Right under him, he's batting 246 with 6 homers, 31 RBIs. It's okay year.
All right, yeah.
Right below him, Ryan McMahon, batting 256 with 16 home runs and 44 RBIs. Literally better in every single stat. Yep.
And hasn't got hurt.
Yep.
So, it's like... And Gavin Lux, I'm saying Gavin Lux, was going to be a bunch of All-Stars, but he doesn't deserve an All-Star appearance quite as much as maybe Ryan McMahon. I just think we need to look at that just so we don't miss out. Because it's always a great story to see these guys who, come out of nowhere or bloom late and stuff. They make their All-Star game and make a name for themselves and go see some of these other players and play with them and really, demonstrate what they can be. Instead of just keep sending the same old guys, even though their stats don't warrant them being there. Just Monty Grandal, especially Martin Maldonado. For nothing.
Yeah.
That's all. And I'm not saying these guys aren't good. They just
No.
You're an all-star. There's only a few of each position. Like you Salvador Perez leading the vote, batting 290 with 16, 17 home runs, and Yasmani Grandal second, batting 150, and Martin Maldonado's third, batting 160. Yeah. Something wrong there. The guy who's batting first, leading the first in catcher voting is 130 points higher, and he's not even batting 300.
Yeah.
It's not like that guy's batting 360. Okay. He's 130 points higher. The other guy's still batting 230. All right, that's not. We'll go with that. He's batting. Yasmani Grandal's batting 160, but he's got 17 home runs this year. Or at least you can argue that. Maybe he's great defensively, but he's not. That's not the case. These stats aren't there. So, that's all. I just want to see the fans be involved, but the right guys get sent to the All-Star game, and that problem is everywhere. It's a popularity contest in a lot of cases, and some fan bases really go wild sometimes. We've seen with the A's in the face of the franchises when they had Eric Sogard. Yeah, almost won it. It was like Derek Jeter and Eric Sogard. Yeah, it was like that's because their fan bases jumped all in. We've seen it with basketball. Was it Boban or Zasha Pachulia or whatever? He almost started the All-Star game that year.
Oh, right.
We've seen it with hockey. Guy wasn't even in the league, I don't think. And he was really devoted to the hockey starter. He ended up being on the hockey team, the hockey all-star team, the East or West or whatever.
I know.
He wasn't even in the league, right? He was in their minor league system or something.
I'm not sure exactly. I know what the story you're talking about. Yeah.
And that ended up making a rule about it. It's like you can't, it's funny, sure, but you're missing. And then there's guys who just get snubbed.
Yeah.
I'm batting 320 and I'm not on the all-star team, but this guy played 7 games and he's on the all-star team.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You just can't do that. You can't. It's not fair, and it's not right to not put the guys who deserve it out on the field at the All-Star game.
Yeah, I always kind of thought that there should be a proportionate share, and they should include pitchers in the voting with the fans. But I just think that it should be like a proportionate. Like I think the fans should hold precedent or should hold the majority over whatever percentage they factor in. But I don't think it should just straight up be like this, where you get in because, like Gavin Lux, he's on the Dodgers. There are fan bases like the Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox, Padres at this point. These big fan bases, Cardinals, that will just vote for their whole team, regardless of the stats. So you have that. If you have a bigger fan base, it is what it is. You'll get more votes if you're Schmo playing second base and you're batting 220. So you have that. Plus you have people, like you said, like Trout starting. Yeah, obviously Trout's one of the great players we've seen, especially this generation. But the reality is that he's probably not going to play it. Granted, he hasn't played in a while. His stats are good for this year, but he hasn't played in a while. So you have a guy like that, doesn't make any sense. And I'm just going through and looking here at who's first, second, and third, who's getting voting. Like I said, the Ryan McMahon example. It makes no sense that Gavin Lux would be there. Not to say I don't like Gavin Lux or that I don't think he's good. It's just he doesn't deserve to be an all-star, you know? But, I mean, it's strange how it all breaks down with the voting. I mean, there are a lot of guys here like Arenado is second in the voting, Chris Bryant's in the voting, Alex Bregman's in the voting. You know, these guys, it's like, okay. You know, there's...
Even Bregman, now. You look at his stats.
Well, he's let me go back to it. I believe he's second in voting. He's 275 average, 7 home runs, 34 RBIs. So, for him especially, not really all that great of a year.
But, yeah, I mean, obviously they want to promote the game and put the best players there. That's really their point of, okay, this is what the fans want to see, so this will help us promote the game. Let's get Trout there. Let's get, Machado there. Let's get, Harper there. Let's get these guys there.
Right.
But also, let's get the guys who deserve it to be there. That's why I think maybe they do a 50% fans vote counts, and then the other 50% comes from the players, GMs, writers. They break it all down that way. Or, like I said, they vote for the players. Maybe the coaches, players, writers, GMs. Maybe they're going, all right, here's the 5 second baseman you guys get to pick from.
Yeah.
We cut out everybody else. Here's the 5. And then you vote on these 5.
Yeah.
At least that would give you, okay, these are the 5 that really deserve to be there.
Yeah.
And you get to vote 3 of the 5 are going to make it. Something like that. At least that narrows it down.
As opposed to voting for anyone that's on the bigger teams,
Yeah, like Jared Kelenick's on the voting.
Yeah.
Like, I can go vote for Jared Kelenick. He's like 4 for 69 in his career. Like, I don't think he's an all-star. So, they're in a little bit of a tough spot because obviously you want to get what the fans want to go the game, but you also got to get what the players want and what the players deserve. So,
I agree.
I'm on the boat where let's just get the guys who deserve to be there and let it go from there.
Yeah, I always kind of had that same sentiment with thinking with how the fans, the percentage that they hold and the power they hold in getting these guys to the All-Star game. Because, yeah, like you said, and at this point, it doesn't affect the World Series anymore. So I guess to that point, too, it's just all for fun and promoting the game and whatever, getting the big guys there. But at the end of a guy's career, if he can say he's a 5-time, 7-time All-Star, that makes a big difference in a guy's, Hall of Fame chance. It makes it in his legacy. I mean, I know that baseball's going more towards the fun, let the kids play and all that stuff, and going towards more fan-friendly stuff, but there are some serious things to consider here with guys' careers and the imprint left on them, for the future.
Just the money. Contract. Some of these guys have all-star contract bonuses.
That's true.
Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, you get bonuses for these. We make the playoffs, we win the division, we get bonuses. If you make the All-Star game, if you lead the league in hits, you lead the league in this, you get bonuses.
Right.
So there's money involved here too. And some of these guys, a lot of these guys, especially the younger ones, aren't getting paid the big money yet. So not that I'm not going to say that they need the money, but a lot more than Harper, who's making like $1 million a pitch. So I just think they need to work on it a little bit and really adjust it so we can get who deserves to be there.
I agree.
Over just the fact of I like this guy, because it's just like it's a popularity. Remember, it's not a popularity game.
Yeah.
It's not an all-star voting.
Yeah, which, I mean, the stars are the stars for a reason. So even if the blind squirrel thing, where even if you're just like, oh, Xander Bogaerts, he's got to be there. He's having a good year. So it's like, okay. Guys like that will usually, because they're the stars, it works out anyway. But
like, if you wanted to put Machado there this year, okay, his stats aren't quite there, been 250 or so. But if it's comparable to another guy who's up on the voting, okay, maybe his name's a bit bigger, people want to see him, okay, I can see that. But if you're batting 150, and there's 6 guys who are batting way better, having great years, and you're making it over them, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's somewhat close, it's reasonable, you're a bigger name, I get that.
Sure.
But I just don't want these guys missing out on big moments in their career and stuff like that, and then just not giving them the credit that they deserve for having a great first half.
I agree. I definitely agree. And it just needs a little tweaking. It's not like you have to overhaul how the voting happens. It's just add just change the proportionate share of how the fans. Like you said, it'd be even cool if the coaches and everyone were like, here's your 5 guys. Here are the guys that are doing the best right now, and pick from them. And that even if you
vote getter's a starter, and the next 2 highest vote getters makes a team.
Yeah.
Something like that, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, there's 5 players or whatever, 4 players, and fan voting goes to them for the last roster spot.
Yeah.
Highest fan vote gets the spot.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
That's why the fans get to see who they want, but also the guys who deserve to be there are essentially on the ballot.
Yeah, I agree. They should definitely do that. I don't know if I wouldn't imagine they're going to change it just because, I don't know, it just seems like something that they're just like whatever about. Not that it's not like it's making or breaking baseball, but it is something to consider that would probably take not that much of a change.
Yeah, you never
to
know
fix
with the CBA coming up. Because
That's true.
I could definitely see the players, if you're on the lower end of popularity, definitely pushing for it. If you're Bryce Harper, you're like, I don't care if it's a popularity vote because I'm going to be there 9 out of 10 times now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a give and take.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point with the CBA coming up that they might negotiate something like that because the players might get the shit end of the stick in some cases. In some cases, like you said, Harper, Trout, Judge, these guys are Acuna at this point. They're just going to get in even if they're batting 230, 240. They're getting votes because they're the guys, So, I get it. We'll see. I don't know if they even have any plans to do that or if it's just us kind of spitballing. But, that's something to definitely consider. Have the coaches have more of a say in the initial voting, and the players and stuff. So, with that, let's get into our news segment of the week. Kind of, like I said, not as much a slow news week as the previous weeks, but got some cool stats and cool stuff that happened in the past week. So, number 1, Wander Franco is getting called up. The Tampa Bay Rays have announced that they intend on calling up baseball's top prospect, Wander Franco, on Tuesday, June 22nd. Franco is only 20 years old and has been widely regarded as the best prospect in baseball for some time now. According to a recent report on him, quote, Franco is a switch hitter who makes a ton of contact, much of it hard. He garners an above-average mark for his speed and his arm. And, look, there's just not much he can't do. One rival front office member said that Franco could have probably held his own in the majors back in 2019 when he was 18 years old, end quote. That all coming from CBS Sports. So Wander Franco, highly regarded in the contact hitting department, speed, fielding. I'm not sure where his power lies. I don't think that's where his bread and butter is. I think his bread and butter is in speed and hitting. He's only 20, so he could be here for a long time. And the fact that he was scouted and said that he could have held his own at 18, that there's not many guys that get that scouting report. And from what I understand in his scouting report, he has a good level head and that he could actually be a great leader for the Rays. So it's an exciting guy to get called up. We have a lot of young, exciting guys in baseball already. And this could just add to the total we have already. So good luck to him. I'm going to hate seeing him play the Yankees because he'll probably trash us. But we'll see. Good luck to him. And hopefully, you always like to see those top prospect guys work out because it's just better for baseball,
Yeah. So hopefully he's getting his call up, and that's always great. So we'll see what happens.
Number 2, we got another triple play by the Yankees. On Sunday, June 20th, the New York Yankees turned a triple play, the third triple play of the season, which ended the game against the Oakland Athletics. This is the first quote-unquote walk-off triple play since August 23rd, 2009, when the Phillies turned an unassisted triple play to end the game against the Mets. You can see one of our trivia questions for that, the unassisted triple play, if you remember that.
Jason Bartlett, right?
Yep.
Or
it was... No, I think you had it right.
Was it Bartlett who ended up turning it? I don't know, unassisted one to end the game. I know that.
I've seen the video so many times the last few days.
I don't know if it was Jason Bartlett or not.
We'll have to go back to our own trivia question and look.
Yeah, I always forget the guy's name because he's like that's his history right there.
Yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah.
This also ties the record for most triple plays in one season by a team with 3, and they are the 11th team in history to do this. So, yeah, pretty exciting. The Yankees' third triple play of the season already. It ended the game, and I believe this is the second time that Chapman has been on the mound for a triple play, in the season already. So, which helps you out,
sure,
because he's on your fantasy team.
Help me win fantasy this week.
Yeah,
that triple play. So, the Yankees' third triple play, 2 in a week, right? Or 2 in 8 days, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
This was the first time they ever had 2 in a season. Now, obviously, it's the first time they had 3, and it also ties the major league record of 3, I believe set by like 13 or 14 other teams.
I have here 11 other teams, so they're the 12th team.
They're the 12th team, yeah, the first team since 2006 White Sox.
Yep, or 2016.
2016 White Sox. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Yeah, so 2016 White Sox, and I think it goes all the way back. The first team was what, like the 1889 or 1881 Providence Grays. I think
it was like the Red Stockings or the Grays or so.
I think it was the Providence Grays.
It was old.
1881 and then like 1889, someone else did it.
Yeah, it was old.
That's always crazy, but
sure.
Yeah, triple plays are always exciting because you don't. I don't know how many there's ever been.
I have no idea.
You'd imagine if 3 is the record for a season.
Yeah, there can't be that many.
I don't know, maybe 150 of them.
Yeah, I don't know. And the way that they turned the most recent one, the 5-4-3, that's probably the most common.
Around the horn.
Right? Yeah, around the horn triple play, because the one they did before that was like the first triple play in history where it was like
1-3.
It was like 1
3 6 2 5 6 triple play.
Something like that where they got the guy out and then it went to the catcher and then the catcher threw it to the third baseman, tagged him out, then back to the shortstop, and yeah it was nuts.
Yeah, we had that, and I think unassisted triple plays there's only been a handful of them.
Yeah, I know there's only a few of them.
And I'm telling you, maybe 150 triple plays ever.
Yeah, I mean,
in MLB history.
I bet they happened a lot back then for some reason too, because that just sounds like old baseball.
Sure, just running all everywhere. They don't know backwards and everything else. So
here, wow, actually, I just pulled up the number. They've been tracking it since 1876. There's been 727 triple plays in MLB history.
That's incredible.
Which averages about 5 a year.
Is there a split? Does it show like from 1870 to like the dead ball era? There's been this many.
I'll look it up.
I'm sure from the live ball era, 1920s on, I bet you there's been a lot less.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a numeric value here. The most common is the 5-4-3. Then the next common is 6-4-3, 4-6-3. So, it makes sense, the around the horn ones. But yeah, there's no number, there's no split. I mean, I'd have to look really far into it, but just from my little computer search here.
Yeah, I would assume that since the 1920s and the live ball, I'm sure it's been less triple plays than it was back in the day.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure in the first 40 years of baseball, I'm sure there was a lot of them.
The first triple play was in 1876, where it was the Mutuals versus the Dark Blues. So there you go.
Yeah, running backwards and everything else, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, anyway, some other news we got here. Kyle Schwarber ties the record for 5 home runs with 5 home runs in 2 game span.
Yep.
He hit 2 on Saturday, then he hit 3 yesterday. So that's pretty incredible. And Ronald Acuna, milestone home run yesterday. He has 100th career home run.
Yeah, good for him.
So that's it's pretty good. He's one of the youngest. Or he might have been the youngest to 100 home runs and 75 stolen bases. One of the youngest, I believe, and he was one of the youngest just to 100 home runs, I believe, or at least amount of games.
That's probably a good bet.
Like the 8th least amount of games or something. The least was Ryan Howard. He was nuts. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, 100 career home runs. That's for, I believe he's 23 years old. I mean, it's what, 4 years. So another 4 years, you could have 200, and that's obviously that's not even right because he's gonna hit a lot more than that.
And he had kind of a shortened year last year.
So I'm saying, if you really wanted to just keep going with the 4 years, he's probably ended up with 400 to 500 home runs just by doing that.
Yeah, just by doing what he's been doing.
So, and that's obviously not gonna. It's gonna go way up. So.
Yeah, because once he hits his prime, and God willing,
and you're hitting 50, 60 a year, instead of hitting 25.
Yeah.
So those numbers definitely could shoot up, and he'll be having, he could just be up to the 600, 700 mark.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome. He's a great player. He's very exciting. I really do love watching Ronald Acuna play baseball.
Yeah. So, other than that, I mean, obviously we're still getting with full capacity. Yankees and I believe Mets were full capacity starting this past Friday. So, we're at a lot of places we're at full capacity. San Diego was back at full capacity the other day. It was an exciting game. And if they're not at full capacity, I think we're at like 75, 80% capacity. I mean, we're pretty much there. So we're pretty much fully back, and not for nothing, but you haven't really seen the breakouts.
Yeah.
One guy goes, maybe it's more for the health safety protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen like, he tested positive. It's been more like, okay, he might have been around somebody who might have had it, let's give him a day, 2 days. Up, we found out there's nothing. He's good.
Yeah.
So we're almost back to just the way it is.
Yeah, positivity rates have been way down with people getting vaccines and people already having it, so their bodies, so...
So we're back to just yelling at baseball.
Yeah.
So
We can stop worrying about that crap.
Yes.
Or at least for now.
Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, just to kind of wrap up our news segment here, before we go into who's doing the best right now, to kind of flip on it, kind of celebrating. Here's something to not celebrate, especially if you're a Diamondbacks fan. The Diamondbacks are not great right now. I'll use your stat because I have that they lost 40 of 45 games. They lost, 41 of 47?
They are, May.
Yeah.
Since the calendar turned to May, they are 6-47.
It's just...
That, I believe,
okay,
is the worst stretch I have ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a stretch like that.
We've seen some bad teams.
Oh, yeah.
The Astros.
Mm-hmm.
The Glenn Porter Astros, and the Mets had some bad years. Then the Cubs.
Yep.
And the Royals. Early 2000 Royals where they were hit their own pitcher in the face with the ball, covering the Pirates. Detroit had like 47 wins that one year.
Yeah.
Like 2003 year.
The Rays.
The Rays, all of them. The Larry Rothschild Rays.
Orioles had some bad years.
Yeah. Some Orioles, yeah. The pre-Melvin Mora Orioles and those guys.
Yeah.
We've seen some. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it doesn't really make sense. They're sitting at a 17-game losing streak right now as of recording this. It could be worse by the time this goes up.
Yeah. And they have the record for most consecutive road losses.
Mm-hmm. Which was like 23, 24.
23.
I mean, and it doesn't make any sense because they're a pretty good team as far as when you look at their talent. They shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah,
I don't understand
like a 5-game win streak to end April.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of looked like...
Or like 4 out of 5 to end April. Baumgartner was throwing, no hitters or special achievements, I guess. And then they don't win. 6-47.
Yeah, what do you even say?
At that point you're on pace for 12-94. 12 wins and 94 losses if you just did that again.
Jesus.
That's...
Yeah, what do you... Yeah, what... What do you do?
Let's say you kept on that pace. You're talking maybe 14 and 100. You'd get to 100 losses with about 14 wins.
It's hard to even fathom. That's like...
That's like the Cleveland Spiders bad.
Yeah, that's you really are pushing the worst team ever at that point, and they're not.
If they had if they didn't have a decent April,
I know.
I think they have 20 wins.
They do. They have exactly 20. So
that's 14 wins in April.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good month.
That's a pretty good. Yeah, that's a good month.
If they didn't have 14, let's say they were a bad start. Let's say they were just okay.
Mm.
Maybe they had 8 wins in April, which is not great. But April you have a couple less games, so maybe they're like 8 and whatever, 13 in April. Okay, that's not too bad. You'd have 14 wins right now.
Yeah, you'd have 14 wins in late June.
And one of them was because the guy had to throw no hitter in a doubleheader.
I know.
To win a game.
Yeah, and then he give it to him.
And they won 1-0 or 2-0 in that game.
Yeah, they only won by a little bit. Yeah. It took a no hitter.
Unbelievable. So it's. Whew.
Yeah, I don't like to. I mean, we brought up the Orioles really being bad. We've brought up win streaks before, but like the A's win streak. But this, I had to bring. It doesn't make any sense.
Listen, if you're gonna be bad, be record-breaking bad.
That's fair.
It's like the guys that do home runs and pitchers. If you're gonna give up a home run, you might as well give up a 500-footer.
Yeah.
I don't want to see no wall scraper. Just let them crush it.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be bad, you might as well be unbelievably historically bad.
Yeah.
6-47.
Yeah, what do you even say? It's
let's say you started the season like that, and you doubled it up. You could be on pace for 14 and 100.
Like, what is that poor fan base?
That's not even a win a week.
Do you even watch your team? Like, do you at that point you're just like, well,
yeah, you watch them. You might as well be like, this is awesome, unbelievable bad. You might as well watch them.
Yeah, just for that.
But you're going to get better. You're like, we got to be
true.
better.
That's a good point. You can't
look
get worse.
at him and you'll be like, remember when we were here?
Yeah, for real.
And then you look in and you're like, where's Randy Johnson? Could we get him on the mound maybe? And Kurt Schilling and Steve Finley. And can we get some guy, Luis Gonzalez? Where's he at?
Yeah, and they got they got guys like Ketel Marte and David Peralta. Yeah, I mean,
Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, Bumgarner.
Tim LeCastro, and if you said him, is he even hurt?
He was hurt for a little while. Then
Yeah.
got mad.
Yeah, I mean, these guys aren't. This isn't a bad team. That's why it makes no sense to me. If this was
Carson
like,
Kelly having a really good year.
yeah,
Hakeem Soria, bullpen.
if this was like,
I mean, I think I had him like third in the West,
yeah, I had him
like 70-something wins,
even.
above the Giants.
I had him fourth, but I don't think I had him. I don't think I had him less than 75 wins. I knew they'd be good.
They would have to. This is another way to put it, just to beat him into the ground one more time here. On the stretch they're on, they would have to win 41 straight just to get back to 500.
Oh my God! You'd have to double the record.
On the stretch they're at, so they're 6-47. They'd have to win 41 straight just to get back to 500 on the stretch. For the year, they have to win 31 straight, I believe. Right on the year, I think they're 20-51.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They had to win 31 straight games just to get to 500.
Oh my God. It's too much. It's too much to think about.
Yeah, it's just bad baseball.
Yeah. So please, Diamondbacks, just get a little better, because it's fucking
or just
painful.
continuously be bad.
Or
Either
just
be record-breaking bad, or you gotta get better.
just go all in and just be the worst.
Yeah, you go
F it.
for it.
Yeah.
They might be going for it.
They're doing a good job.
They're going to do a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Larry must have called him. He's like, "Hey, I was so bad. You got a shot at beating me?"
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, "Go nuts."
For that whatever. Yeah, I forget what year it was in the Rays. It's like 06 or something. I don't even know.
Who knows? Larry he had some bad years there. So.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. So let's talk about the teams that are doing well. So who's doing the best right now?
The Diamondbacks. No.
God, no. Well, they're on here, but for a different reason. Currently, the Giants own the best record in the league at 46-26. The Dodgers are right behind them in the NL, sitting at 44-27. So you have the two best teams in the NL and the worst team in the league. It's just that NL West is nuts. Over in the AL, the Astros and the A's are tied for the best record at 43-28 and 44-29 respectively. The Red Sox and the White Sox are right behind them at 43-29. They're both tied at 43-29. The Astros have the best run differential in the league at plus 112. Partly probably in part to what they're on a 6-game winning streak or something like that. I mean, that definitely helps. And no surprise, Diamondbacks have the worst run differential in the league at minus 107. That usually leads you to losing 47 games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where they're at.
Yeah. Some other hot teams that I have mentioned here: the Indians, Yankees, Astros, A's, Mariners, Nationals, Giants, Dodgers, all playing pretty well. Yankees big series, played the red hot A's and beat them 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, big time.
Some cold teams. You got the Orioles, Rangers, Royals, Pirates, and Diamondbacks. Yes, that's
Yep.
6-47 over the last 53 games
You just pencil them in.
since May. They have 6 wins.
I don't
That's
know.
incredible.
Well,
That's the hot and cold teams.
I don't know if I even have. I don't have any hot or cold people from the Diamondbacks on here. They just are. They're just sitting there.
They might not even be showing up.
I know we don't watch them.
They might not even be. They might not even show up. They just give us the loss.
Yeah, we'll take it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's less embarrassment.
Yeah, I don't want anyone getting hurt. Just give us the loss. We'll play once a week. Hopefully we'll win.
And I have Ketel Marte on my fantasy team. He's doing
batting
awesome.
Like 340. Yeah.
He's doing awesome. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I think someone's just pranking us. But they're pranking themselves. But
doing something.
let's move on to the who's hot, who's not segment of the show. So for my hot players, my first 2 guys are the players of the week. So number 1, Shohei Ohtani, batted .318 over the last week with 1136 slugging and a 1559 OPS. He had 6 home runs in the last week. Number 2, Kyle Schwarber, batted .348 over the last week with a 1000 slugging and a 1360 OPS. He had 5 home runs. Like you said, it was 5 home runs, 2 games is a record.
Saturday and Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty damn good out of him. Number 3, Ryan Mountcastle, batted .524 over the last week with a 1095 slugging and a 1619 OPS. Number 4, Trey Turner, non-All-Star Trey Turner, batting .478 over the last week with a 739 slugging and a 1239 OPS. And number 5, Trevor Story, with a .455 average, a 727 slugging and a 1263 OPS over the last week.
Yeah. Some guys I want to mention real quick, though. Trey Turner, just to let you know, Kyle Schwarber's been leading off. And Trey Turner batting second. So Kyle Schwarber going nuts. And then Trey Turner's batting second. And then that leads you into Juan Soto.
Oh, my God.
Kind of explains why the Nationals were on the hot team list.
Yeah, they're rolling.
So some other players, though, I got Wilmer Flores doing really good. Ty France. Come on now, Matt Olson. batting, 500 over his last 8 games, going nuts.
Sure.
Yankees go all in, give everything up, trade everybody in the whole system to get Matt Olson in Yankee Stadium. That would be a great move. David Fletcher and Ramil Tapia. He batted 320 something last year. No one cared. Batting over 300 this year. No one cares. He even batted like 280 the year before 2019, I believe. It was 270, 280. No one cared.
Yeah.
That guy's a really good player.
He is good.
Some power, some speed, a lot of triples in the stadium. Plays good defense. Really good player.
Yeah.
So I really do appreciate him and like to keep up with him a little bit. Every once in a while, take a peek at his stats and just be like, there he is.
Yeah.
So.
I've kind of been on the same boat where I look at it and I'm like, this guy's playing good and no one says nothing about him. I guess just because you're on the Rockies. Look, Ryan McMahon's not even in the running for the All Stars, so I don't know. Just something with the Rockies right now.
Yeah. So, and you said Mountcastle, he had 3 home runs in one game.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He was the first rookie since Markakis to do that.
Is that right?
For the Orioles.
Oh, okay.
First rookie for the Orioles to have 3 home runs in a game since
That's
Markakis.
Cool.
So some hot pitchers I got here. Sandy Alcantara, who's been having a great year. Other than one bad start against the Dodgers, he's having you take that start out, he's having a great year.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Fetty for the Nationals. Another reason why maybe the Nationals are playing well. Brett Anderson had a good start. Pablo Lopez pitching really good this year. I think he has 3 wins now for a guy who had like an under 3 ERA.
Oh, okay.
And Brett Hand, another National, going wild. One pitch saved the other day, so that's pretty impressive. So
yeah, that'll work.
But yeah, those are some hot players that I just want to throw out there.
Cool. So moving on to the cold guys, not quite as ice cold as some weeks where you have guys batting a goose egg. I didn't have anyone like that. I didn't say so.
Not quite like that.
But number 1, I have Lepre Torres, a .050 average with a .050 slugging and an 186 OPS, I should say, over the last week. Number 2, I have Paul Jong, 105 over the last week with a 105 slugging and a 210 OPS. Number 3, Anthony Rizzo, 105 average over the last week with a 316 slugging and a 506 OPS. Number 4, Jose Abreu with a 130 average, a 261 slugging, 461 OPS. And number 5, Charlie Blackmon, a 136 average, a 136 slugging, and a 376 OPS over last week. So like I said, not quite like ice cold where you're not doing anything. Like these guys like Rizzo has a 506 OPS. It's like, okay. I mean, if you're cold, at least you can somewhat live with that, you know?
Yeah, some other guys that I got here. Jackie Bradley Jr., I believe, has the lowest qualified batting average out of any player.
No shit.
That was, the $100 million man, right?
Yeah.
Mets fans, just know that you almost had him.
Yeah.
You almost continued the terribleness of let's just stopgap center fielders. You almost ruined your whole franchise by signing Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yep.
That would have been another Austin Jackson signing and all those ones where you just get guys who just fill in out there, but you know they can't hit a lick.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope Mets fans know that they lucked out there.
Sure.
Tyler Naquin struggling, Jose Abreu, and Jorge Soler. Some guys have really been struggling recently. Some pitchers are not pitching good. Matt Harvey's been bad for weeks now. Pete Fairbanks for the Rays comes in. I think he blew like 3 games in a row.
Oh, wow.
For the Rays. Part of the Mariners sweeping them.
Yeah, which is impressive.
That's impressive on both sides. Some other pitchers, Zach Davies, not pitching great. Last 2 starts or so. Alex Young and Zach Eflin. Some guys really struggling in the pitching department recently. Some injuries we want to get into. Some terrible ones. Tyler Glass now, part of maybe the balls being changed and the sticky and not being able to use the sunscreen rosin mix. Partial UCL tear. He actually got decent news where he's going to start throwing again in 4 weeks. For a lot of fans, my pick for Cy Young, my fantasy team, not great.
Yeah, it hurts.
Great pitcher to see possibly miss a lot of this year, if not all this year, and maybe all next year.
Yeah, and I like Glasnow too. I just like him as a person. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, his interviews are great too. He gives you the answer.
Yeah, he's
Whatever
very
thinking,
candid.
He's gonna tell you what he's thinking, and it's great. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, he's
Even
very.
the other day he was angry, and he still was like very nice about it.
Yeah, no, he's very candid, very transparent. He's a cool dude. I like Glasnow.
So some other injuries. Nico Goodrum for the Twins, placed on the IL. Nick Madrigal, another Frank Fantasy guy who was batting great. Tore 2 ligaments in his hamstring. Got season-ending surgery.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Obviously, you don't like seeing guys get hurt, especially major injuries, especially young guys, especially contending teams.
Yeah.
He fills all them.
Agreed.
So, Alex Bregman, placed on the IL. Steven Piscotty, just a well-likable guy. He's quite had a career and stories around him, especially with the ALS and his mother. Gene Segura having a great year. He got placed on the IL. Mike Moustakas tried coming back with a heel injury, moved to the 60-day DL. Carson Kelly yesterday got hit by a pitch for the Diamondbacks and fractured his wrist. One of the bright spots out there for them. Austin Gomer for the Rockies placed on the IL. Again, Adalberto Mondesi on the IL again.
Is he really?
This is the third time. Started the year on the IL, came back, played good, got hurt, went on the IL, came back, hit a couple home runs, played good, back on the IL. He's a great player.
He is a good player.
Can't do anything on the right
He's a switch hitter, right?
Yeah, with unbelievable speed.
Yeah.
On the good news of things, I guess you could say, George Springer said he's not coming back to DH. He's coming back to play, and he's ramping up. John Means is eyeing the All-Star break for a full comeback. Luke Voigt expected to be back tomorrow, so by the time this gets up on Wednesday, he should already had some at-bats, and who knows what he does with them. David Dahl, rehab assignment scheduled. Mike Soroka, terrible injury last year. Terrible setback. Had a clean-up surgery on his Achilles. They said season's done for him. They said he might be back in August now.
It's crazy.
So hopefully he'll be back. That'll help the Braves. Might be a little too late by that point, but you never know. The Mets getting a lot of guys back. DeGrom pitched today. He had that small injury. Brandon Nimmo is closing in on getting back. Jeff McNeil is actually supposed to be activated today. Dylan Betances is, kind of doing something. Carlos Carrasco, at least they're getting an idea about. So they got a lot of guys out there who, they're getting updates from.
Yeah.
Tatis left the game the other day with a shoulder injury. He obviously is back.
No surprise there.
Sale continues to impress, facing live hitters. So we're getting a lot of guys back. So that's always good.
Yeah, you'd rather have that side of the list long than the injury side of the list. So that's good. Good stuff.
So other than that, just got to get into our trivia question. And one of our buddies, Dads, actually brought this trivia question up the other day to me. And I couldn't figure it out. So I wanted to put it on our show. And that is, who is the only catcher in MLB history to catch multiple perfect games?
I had no idea. I didn't even know the guy. So if that gives you any guesses out there.
Yeah. I threw out a couple guesses, Bob Boone and Mike Scioscia and Buster Posey and guys like that. Didn't quite get it. So, but the answer is Ron Hassey. He had two perfect games. He called Len Barker's in 1981 and Dennis Martinez in 1991, 10 years apart.
Yeah, I had to look him up because I didn't know who this guy was. Admittedly, he was on the Yankees. But he was a guy. Maybe if you're a younger fan of the show, younger baseball fan, he played primarily in the '80s. He jumped around a lot of teams. Kind of was a mediocre to maybe in his best years.
Won the World Series with the A's.
Yeah, so he's had a World Series under his belt. He played for quite a few different teams. I'd say maybe run-of-the-mill catcher, maybe a little above average, just based on his WAR and stats like that. Yeah, it's a stat I wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the only catcher in MLB history to catch multiple perfect games is Ron Hassey. He had two. He also, I believe, is only the second player ever to catch a no-hitter in both leagues. I believe. That's that. You have to look up and double check that. But I did come across that the other day. So I just want to throw that in there. So yeah, that's a pretty good one because there's only 23 perfect games.
Yeah, something like that. We haven't had one in almost 10 years now. So that number's been kind of steady for a while. Yeah,
and to think he caught two.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I believe the record for no-hitters, is held by a couple guys, catching 4 no-hitters.
Yeah, didn't someone this year touch that record?
I'm not sure.
Wasn't it something like, who was it that caught Alec Mills' no-hitter last year and also caught someone's this year? Who the hell was it? Someone listening right now is freaking out. And they're like, it's...
Caratini then.
Yep. Yeah, because he caught Musgroves.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's 2.
Yep.
Veritek was one of the guys that had 4.
Yeah, because he...
Don't want to bring him up, but...
That's true.
Bringing him up. Not Ray Schalk, though.
Thank God.
So, but yeah, another trivia question. So, other than that, Father's Day was yesterday, so I hope everybody had a good Father's Day. And, Father's Day and baseball, I don't know, seems to go together. See the blue gear and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
It was very cool.
I believe Pujols ended up hitting another home run on Father's Day. I think he has the record now with 8 home runs on Father's Day or something. I'm not sure you have to look that up, but he does have a bunch on Father's Day.
Yeah, I'm sure he's close.
Yeah, I believe he has 7 or 8 now, so that's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're right there on the swing of things. And baseball, starting today, June 21st, we're recording this. The sticky stuff, the sticky situation, I guess I think is what they're calling it, is underway, where they're checking the pitchers and stuff quickly. The umpires are not going into it to check them. They're not going to, go nuts on it, but they're just going to be like, yeah, you look good.
Yeah.
So that's something to take a look at.
Yeah, definitely something to start considering, especially if you have some hard-ass umpires out there that might do a little extra check or might be a little tough on the guys. At least to start. Who knows? Maybe this to start, it's real like a crackdown, and then it kind of starts to fade.
I think what the umpire said, which was good, was just like, hey, we'll check you as long as it's not blatant. You're not globbing stuff on the ball, nothing like that. We're not getting pressured by the other dugout. We'll just do a quick once over and be like, you're good.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to lower things, but it's not going to. I don't think it's right now. It might prevent people, but I think people will get back to using a little bit of something. Just back to a respectable number
where you can just grip the ball,
or a respectable amount. I think that's maybe what MLB is pushing for. Like, let's just get back to a normal bit of it.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. So that's all I got. That's all I got for the week.
Yeah, that's all I kind of got too. Was just kind of what we had in our notes here. Yeah, hopefully they when they start enforcing this, they don't go crazy where the pitcher has anything on them. It's
yeah, because you're getting really into a rabbit hole where, this umpire defines this as a sticky substance, but this one doesn't really think of it. This one's really hard on it. This one's only got sunscreen on his arm, but now he's like, oh, it's sticky. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
This one's like, this guy's got a glob of pine tar on the ball, like an inch thick, and he's like, it's all right.
Yeah,
so you start getting into, what umpire you get and what this and that, and it's just...
Yeah, because you already got a lot to worry about with the umpire strike zones, guys like Angel Hernandez and shit. So
yeah, he can't see past his nose, so you don't want him doing anything.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. It's an ongoing thing.
But umpires having grievances still. Umpire never forgets.
Yeah.
So Angel Hernandez, get yelled at by everybody. One day he might be like, I remember you yelled at me last year and called me an idiot.
Yeah. All of a sudden,
that looks like you got a little sticky something on your neck there.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Yep. And they're not going to question it with this new crackdown coming. So
you never know. You don't want to get into that situation. I don't think.
Sure. Like you said, it's a rabbit hole that you could go down. So, All right. So with that, I got nothing else. So if you want, we can just wrap this up and get out of here.
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. You can catch this podcast on Google Podcasts as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can listen on our regularly updated YouTube channel as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.